The mass shooting at the Buffalo supermarket was just one of 4 shootings that happened over the weekend. And though each is a tragedy, they have become all too common in the United States. According to the Gun Violence Archive, who defines mass shootings as 4 or more people killed or shot, mass shootings have significantly increased every year. In 2018, the U.S. saw 336 mass shootings, 2019, 417, and then in 2020, it jumped to 611. 2021, almost 700 mass shootings took place in America. So far this year, only 19 weeks into 2022, there have been 202 mass shootings in the United States. Here with me now is Manuel Oliver. He is the founder of ChangeTheRef.org, also the father of Joaquin Oliver, a victim of the Parkland, Florida school shooting in 2018. Manuel, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. It's my pleasure being here with you.
So, first of all, my condolences to you and to your family. I want to first get your reaction to not only the Buffalo shooting here, but the fact that there were 4 mass shootings over the weekend. Now, that resulted in 14 people being killed, another 22 people being injured here in America. What is your reaction to that?
Well, I'm not surprised, and that's actually pretty bad, the fact that we are not surprised that this is happening. My life, it's surrounded by shootings that happen every single day in different places around the nation. I find this terrible. I don't think that we deserve this. I think that our politicians are doing very little to stop this from happening. And we're getting used to it. And in this case, in the particular case of Buffalo, you also have to understand that that was a permitted purchase weapon. An 18-year-old was able to buy that weapon. I believe there was a background check and everything. So even the things that we're fighting for are not enough. This is offensive. The fact that we have, and you mentioned, gun rights groups that are slowly turning into killing rights groups because they support this, I think is terrible. And we need to do things in a different way.
Let's talk about the fact that the suspect in this case was able to purchase a weapon, an AR-15, legally. He was able to pass that background check. What does that tell you about the system that is in place right now? What do you make of background checks?
Well, I think that I have seen what a background check requires. I have done all possible testing here and there to understand better where we are. And there are so many paperwork when you go to the doctor that will be way harder than filling out a paper for your background check. It's very hard to fail that test. In addition to that, I can tell you that it's part of what we do. It's part of our tradition, and it's part of our identity as Americans. There is a certain amount of group of people that sell guns. The gun industry is making a lot of money, and it will be very expensive to change things. That's the whole point. Now, we want to save lives, and we're going to keep on doing what we do. It's incredible that after what happened here, and you just said it, you can see how the system is not helping, because what happened in Buffalo will happen again. And guess what? To all your viewers, maybe you're next. I don't see why not. So that's where we are.
As a parent who has lost a child to gun violence, I can't even imagine what having to sit through these shootings means to you, what it does to you. At the end of the day, who would you say is to blame for mass shootings here in America? Is it the U.S. government? Is it these gun right advocacy groups? Do they have too much power and influence over politicians?
They do. They have a lot of power, but I'm more concerned about the social behavior. Society, a big part of the society believes that, again, this is an identity that we need to hold to. And that, hopefully, it's fixable. That could change. That is exactly the kind of a strategy that we do with Change the Ref. We create these campaigns that talk to the people, not to the politicians. Let me tell you something. My son was murdered a little more than 4 years ago. I have seen 2 presidents I have seen different members in Congress and Senate, and we still see this happening. So I don't believe them anymore. I was holding accountable the president 2 months ago, along with my wife. I went to jail for that. So people need to react. We need to make sure that we understand that we are just potential victims in here. And by the way, it's not how I feel. It's how Joaquin felt that day, or the 10 people that died 2 days ago. How do they feel when they were going to the grocery store as a regular day and they got shot, which is a painful way of dying, by the way. So we need to do way more.
Manuel, I mean, but what about the laws and regulations that stand right now here in this country? I mean, if you were the president of the United States, what changes would you want to see happen right now? What could happen at this point that could eliminate this problem in the United States? How would the United States handle this issue?
Let me tell you, if I would be the president of the United States, it's a great question. No one ever asked me that before. I will talk right now, live, in live TV, so everybody can hear me, with a message of urgency of saving lives. We need to end with gun violence, and I am the president of the United States, and I am with you, with every single group trying to make this a better place. We need that leading voice. We don't have that leading voice. And by the way, you don't need to be Republican or a Democrat to understand and believe that saving lives is a pretty important thing for a first world nation. Shame on us. Every time I travel overseas and I see these countries that they don't really understand what's going on in here. Well, I don't get it. I don't understand. I was very clear to the president asking for specific things, including a universal background check. But as I told you before, that's not enough. So we need to consider ourselves people that deserve better. I don't want to see your kids dying. I already saw mine. And I believe that there is a young American generation that is making things in a different way. And they will, at some point, not 10, maybe 15, 20 years, things will be different. And those gun rights groups will be totally irrelevant, in my opinion.
Manuel, I want to get your reaction to this before I let you go. The ATF, or the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, is the smallest federal agency that exists. It is the smallest, yet they oversee all of the gun violence that is happening in the United States. Now, they have been without a director since 2013.
I know, and that was one of the main calls that we asked President Biden. It's a political game, you know. Sometimes these politicians believe that naming someone or promoting a name, it's enough. And then it happens that goes into a never-end story of debates, and at the end of the day, more people lose their lives. So let's get serious with this. Why do the Republicans that are against this, and some Democrats too, believe that they are untouchable? Why do you believe that this is not going to happen to you? What makes you think that this is not going to happen to you? You probably have a very low IQ, or you're not watching what's going on your neighborhood. So specific things like that one, like a national director, it's mandatory. It should happen tonight. It should happen today. And this goes back to the question of what do I do if I'm the president? I will put out my sleeves and talk to the nation now, today.
All right. Manuel Oliver from Change the Rough, thank you so much for taking your pain, putting it into action. Hats off to you. I'm so sorry for your loss. We appreciate your time today. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Anytime, whatever you need.
Thousands of protesters